Challenge number 12, Chainable Options. Chainable options are commonly used in JavaScript, but when we switch to TypeScript, can you properly type it? In this challenge, you need to type an object or a class, whatever you like, to provide two functions. Option that takes the parameters key and value, and get. In option, you can extend the current config type by the given key and value. Get gives you the final result. You don't need to write any JSTS logic to handle the problem. Just in type level, you can assume that key only accepts string and the value can be anything. Just leave it as is. Same key won't be passed twice. This is definitely a more complicated challenge. So we're gonna make a plan to make this work. The first step we have to do is to get the return type. The second step, we have to self-return to be able to call option again. Third step is to add all keys. We can do that via map type. Fourth, we're gonna prevent repetition of keys. We can do this with exclude. And fifth, we're gonna overwrite existing keys with a new value. In case we pass the key again, like down here in result 2, when name is basically passed twice and overwritten. Okay, let's begin. We're gonna build a type for ourselves to test this. Type test equals, this is quite easy because we can just call type of result 1, and this gives us currently any. Let's start with step number 1. First, we're gonna make a generic out of chainable and expect the parameter r, which causes an error because it's not passed by the test cases, so we need to provide a default option, which is an empty object. So now the error is fixed and we can use this generic parameter on the get function. So basically this return type gets continuously passed, and here we already get still any, okay, because this is always any. Number 2 is we're gonna self-return to enable calling option again. So when we call option, it has to return a chainable, otherwise we can't call option again. So now we get the empty object, not any anymore. Now we need to be able to add the keys, and for that we're gonna make a generic out of option, and the key extends a string as the description said, and the value can be anything, so it's just a v. Key is gonna be of value k and value is gonna be of type v. This is still an empty object because we now have to pass into chainable the updated object. Basically what we receive we put back in the r, and then we create an intersection with the r and a record of key and the value. And this gives us now already some more complex return types. So basically record foo, record bar, record name, which is the result here. As we can see, 2 test cases already passed, but result 3 still doesn't work, and also the error cases here do not work. So let's go on to number 4, no repetition of keys. We can reach this by saying the key may only be a string that is not key of r, that's not already a key of the result object. This now says, okay, now here we immediately get an error because the key already exists. Here argument type string is not assignable of parameter type never because it is part of r already after having called this first option. And now the last test case still doesn't pass, so we can look at it in our test type. It's record name string and record name number, which doesn't make sense. Step number 5 is to overwrite the existing keys with a new value, and by that I mean the type of the key based on the new value. And to do that, we basically take out the old key of r by using omit and override it with the already passed in record. Here we still get record name number, which is going to be the final result, and here we have a rather complex omit clause with another omit on the inside that we basically from empty object omit the key k, and then we create an intersection with record name string, and from that object we omit name. So basically we obviously omit exactly this property. That's why it completely gets cancelled out. It's a bit complex to type, but as we see all test cases pass, let's walk through it one more time. We turned the chainable into a generic by accepting a parameter r, then we provided a default value and used the r on the get to then finally get the return type. Then we returned from option the chainable, so we can keep calling option because it returns itself. We then provided the key, which extends always strings, and the value, and then basically added the existing object r with the record of key and value. Then we said, alright, we want to exclude the existing keys of r so we can't use them twice. So key is now basically a string except for the already existing strings in R. And then finally we said, okay, if you use it again, then we're gonna forget the first one and take the second occurrence and take the type of the second occurrence, which happens here. First name with string and second time name with number. To be honest, this doesn't really make sense because we're already throwing an error here, but in this expect error case, then it all makes sense. Yeah, this was a rather complex challenge. I don't know if I would have rated it medium. If you have any questions, if you need more explanation, let me know in the comments where you struggled, and otherwise I'll see you in the next one. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.